Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is DeCorsia, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you all a recap of my first semester in pharmacy school. So if you guys are interested, stay tuned. All right guys, so what I'm going to do in today's video is go through a few things about my semester, what has made it hard, what has been actually smooth, how it's been virtual learning, and I also have my transcript pulled up. I'm going to go through all the courses that I've taken. So let's get started by going through each block. If you guys haven't already checked out my video on what it's like being in an accelerated program, I'll link that video above just because it will explain how our curriculum is set up, which is in a block format. I'm not taking all of my courses at once. I take a new course every 2 weeks, okay? So my first course in the program was Introduction to Pharmacy. And that one was about the history of pharmacy, who was the first pharmacist, what was the first college of pharmacy, pharmacopoeias, and we also learned about pharmacy calculations. So that particular block, I think, was a struggle for a lot of us just because it was our first course. It was a little scary. We weren't sure how the exams were going to be, but it was not super hard for me. That one was okay. I was a little terrified because it was my first exam, but I did fine in that one. The second one was medical biochemistry, and that one was like, whew, chemistry, I don't know. It's like hit or miss. Like organic chemistry, I was fine with because the structures, like I'm a visual learner. I have really good photographic memory. So organic chemistry was a breeze for me. General chemistry was like a struggle. So this particular course was more, it was definitely a brush up on organic chemistry, but I don't know. It was a little difficult, but I got through that one too. The next one was molecular biology and genetics, but this one was more focused on pharmacogenetics and pharmacodynamics. And so it has to do with how the body affects the drug and how the drug affects the body. Two different things which are important to know. My laptop's making sounds. And that one was kind of tricky as well, but I'm better with biology than chemistry. So that one I was comfortable with. And it was very interesting just knowing like how you have poor metabolizers and ultra metabolizers. Some people, their body just processes the drug or metabolizes the drug quicker than others. So they need a higher dose or, you know, just different things. So it was very, very interesting. For pharmaceutics, one with extemporaneous compounding, that one was very, very interesting. It's a lab course. We don't take our labs until March, but that one was about tablets, disintegrating tablets, sublingual, suspensions, solutions, topicals, all of that was in this course. So it was very interesting, and I loved like learning about the composition of the drugs and how they figure out how it's gonna stay in its form, its shape. Super interesting. I love that one. So I'm excited for labs in March. Let's see, that was the fourth one. The fifth one was law and ethics. This one was also interesting for me because I've been a pharmacist, a pharmacy tech in Ohio for about 7 years, and I've worked in 3 different settings, but my school is in a different state. So the laws here are not completely different, but they are very different from the law in the state that my school is in. So a lot of the things that I remember from working didn't apply to what I would need to know for that exam. And if I choose to get licensed in that state. So things that are just in my brain, that's automatic, and what I know based off of how I've worked and what I've seen is not how it is for the law in that state. So a lot of the stuff that how I already had it in my brain and how I remembered it, it screwed me up because it was different. So in this course, it was honestly better for the students that have never worked in a pharmacy because they had like a clean slate of what to remember. I kind of had to just, when I was going over the questions in the exam, I like looked them over like 3 times because I had to make sure it wasn't me going off of my experience working in the setting, but what I learned in that course. Because again, I'm in Ohio, the class is in a different state. So that block was tricky for me only for that reason. The laws were some of them were straightforward. Others, the federal law and state law did not coincide. So I had to kind of dissect that on top of the law in Ohio. So that one was a tricky block for me for that reason. The course in general was not. It's just, yeah, my experience and the learning, it didn't correlate at all. So the next one was Pharmaceutics 2 with Aseptic Technique. This one we also will have a lab in March. And this one was also interesting. We had the same professors for the first pharmaceutics. So I did enjoy that one. I love hands-on, and because I was a compounding pharmacy tech as well as hospital and retail, but the compounding was, I can't really say what was my favorite, but that was my most recent job. So I really do enjoy compounding, like the hands-on experience. So I'm looking forward to that. My 7th course was Medicinal Chemistry, Pharmacology, and Toxicology 1. That was the hardest block for me. Oh my gosh. It had some organic chemistry within the block, but I'm gonna try to pull this up just so I can like see. Yeah, we had to know, like, we had to brush up on functional groups and know prodrugs, and let's see what else. Lipophilicity, hydrophilicity, of course, nomenclatures and ionization, pH and pKa. Yes, this one, oh my gosh. I was like, what the? Oh my gosh, yes. This one was not a breeze. This one was definitely hard. I studied my butt off for this exam, and it was the lowest grade I got. And I wasn't even upset because I was still shocked at the grade I got. I came out with a 93 in that course, but I was very like, whew. When I saw my grade, I was like, okay, you know, you did it. You got that done. But a lot of people did not pass that course because it was extremely hard. The way the questions were worded was a little tricky. The concepts were tougher to understand. And in that block, I think that one was especially hard because it wasn't just a focus on calculations. It wasn't just about concepts. It was concepts, calculations, and structures. So all of the other courses just focused on one thing for each exam. We had 3 things to focus on and multiple professors. So the questions for the exam were different based off of what the professors taught. So that one, oh my gosh, so hard. So, but I got a 93, you know. The next one, my 8th block, was non-prescription medication and self-limiting diseases. This one was about over-the-counter medications, you know, the antihistamines, the anticholinergic, you know, topicals, drugs and cosmetics, so anti-dandruff shampoos, Tylenols, acetaminophen, Motrin, all of that OTC stuff is what we learned. And that one was very interesting, but that one was challenging as well, but that one was doable. We also learned about contraceptives, female condoms, vaginal creams, UTI, over the counter, like all of that stuff. Yes, so, and I love this block. Our professors actually included a crossword puzzle with like different little rhyming questions that we had to just go to a pharmacy and find. I think it had 20 items on the crossword puzzle, and based off of what the question was or little riddle, we could find out what the OTC product was. So it was a fun way to learn the OTC medications. And then my 9th course was pharmacy practice and interprofessional and patient communications. This course was very engaging. This was the course that the class had the most participation, I would say, just because it, like you had to kind of. Obviously, it was about professionalism, being a leader, being able to communicate with patients. So we learned about counseling. We had counseling simulations. We had 3 of those where we were we have Microsoft Teams, so it's kind of like Zoom, but we're in a virtual meeting with an evaluator, an actor, and ourselves. And the actor acts as a patient, we act as a pharmacist, and our evaluator, writes down critiques and grades us. And you kind of just have to counsel a patient on a new medication, looking for not really interactions, because we're not at that level of learning yet, but more so finding a way to have good nonverbal and verbal communication, being empathetic. So, some people are cancer patients, just being empathetic with their sometimes depression or sadness. For others, their confusion, like those that have just been diagnosed with HIV, and they're confused, they're angry. So being empathetic for those patients, being clear with them, setting up a routine so that they are adherent, or in other words, that they are taking their medications routinely, not missing any doses. And we learned about your wondering method, a teach back method, and good ways to use open-ended questions. So that one just made me feel like the professional I am. I really feel like I'm able to speak better with even Kenya, other people. I'm able, now I use open-ended questions without thinking, because before it was a struggle being able to communicate and counsel with mostly open-ended questions. So that was very hard in that block. But after taking 3 simulations and practicing a lot, it went fine, and I got a good grade on that one. And I was asked to be a part of the patient counseling competition at our school. And then if you're picked, you can go to the national level and compete nationally. So I actually just took part in that competition this past Friday. Myself and only another P1 are the only ones in our class that participated, but there's a lot of P2s and P3s. So it was eye-opening to be a part of that. And I wanted to push myself to do it, because it is probably not going to win because I'm a P1. The upperclassmen know way more about drugs than I do, but it was a really good experience because I am interested in working in retail, and I know it'll set me apart from other students. So I took a part in that. The semester went well. I actually ended the semester with all A's by the grace of God. And I'm so proud of myself because I haven't seen an A in so long. I'm not even joking. So for me to have all A's, 9 courses, accelerated program, as an multiracial woman with African descent and a child, it's pretty huge, and I don't need anyone to be proud of me because I'm proud of myself. And for this to be virtual. The virtual aspect has been very scary in the beginning, but I think it's given me and Kenya, my daughter, a lot to relate on, and because she's virtual as well, and I'm able to show her, I can practice what I'm preaching with her. I'm preaching get good grades, work hard and it will pay off. Virtual learning sucks. It's not the best. It's also not the worst. It just sucks because I would rather be in person, and it also sucks because my kid is virtual as well. We had to like increase the internet speed because my calls would drop, the internet would crash, so I had to get better internet connection. Sometimes, you know, she forgets to close her door, or she doesn't have her headphones in and I can hear her. It's distracting, or she needs help and I'm still in class. So for that reason, it can be a bit distracting. And for me, in the beginning of the semester, I would just sit in my bed and, you know, be online, because we don't have to always have our cameras on. Sometimes they would request us to turn on our cameras if we're presenting, or if we're participating. Not always, it's very rare. But because my camera was able to be turned off, I literally would just fall asleep sometimes because I'm in my bed. So we got, my sister and I, we live together with our 2 kids. So her and I got desks for the girls in their playroom. So sometimes I would just get up and go in the playroom and just study. But if they're in there, obviously I can't be in there. So I would either go to like coffee shops or somewhere just to get a break. So the virtual learning, you know, it's a thing. And again, I'm just happy that I'm able to show her, like, I'm not just saying this. I'm in school too. I understand how tough this is. I know you miss your friends. I know you want to be in school. I feel the exact same way, but we're going to get through this. We're going to do our best, and we're going to get good grades. And I encourage her to get all A's. And now that I have all A's, you know, she can see that it's able to be done, because both her and I are minorities in our school. You know, it's not a lot of Black people in her school or my school. So we are the minority, but I want her to know, like, even though you don't look like the people that you're surrounded by, you're just, not that she needs to know that she's good enough, but that she's able to produce the same results, if not better, no matter where she comes from, no matter what she looks like. And that's just very important to me. So I want her to be confident and to see that through me, and she sees I'm doing it, so she knows that she can do it. So it's just, I feel good that I'm able to do this with her. In the beginning, my intentions was to solely focus on school, because I didn't want to jeopardize my career getting involved in things that really wasn't mandatory. So my intentions were to hold off until my second year, or until I felt comfortable to pick up extracurricular activities or different roles. But I am actually in a pharmacy organization, and I also have leadership roles. Now, it took a while for me to do this, even though it really isn't a while, because it still is the first semester. But in one of our courses, we found out that we have to have certain leadership positions to graduate. It's not a part of our grade, but it is a part of a graduation requirement. And so after learning that that was a requirement, I'm like, okay, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to be involved. I still don't have to be involved now, but in my head, it's better for me to spread my involvement out versus me waiting to the end of my school journey to get all of this done. So I'm like, okay, I do plan on doing these things, so it's best if I spread it out. So in the beginning of the semester, someone actually voted for me to be the P1 class president, and I had to humbly decline, because at that point I didn't want to be, I didn't want to have any positions. So I did decline, and that wasn't a position that I wanted. I could see myself doing it and doing it well, but it wasn't something I really cared to do. So I declined to run for that position. But I did apply for different leadership roles, and I was actually accepted. And so right now I am a student diplomat for my school, which is kind of like the face of the college. I talk to prospective students in orientation, open houses, interviews, and just give them a student perspective. And then I also am on the admissions committee at my school, which is a big deal. Like, this is probably the biggest deal of them all. Just because I remember how scary it was when I applied, and now that I'm a part of that whole process for someone else is very impactful. And I just remember just thanking God so much, because he's not only allowed me to change my narrative from being a teen mom, 16 and pregnant, to now being in pharmacy school. He's not only allowed me to do that, but now he's put me in a position, not only my first year, but my first semester in college, to change the narrative potentially for someone else that looks like me. And it's honestly just such a beautiful thing. I didn't think that I would be here, let alone here doing all of this. These are the blessings that are abundant, that are flowing, that I speak of. And there are honestly so many more. Like, there's so much more. This is just a glimpse. Me being on an admissions committee as a P1 in my first semester, as an African-American woman with a child. Like, it is unbelievable. It is unexplainable. It is everything, and it's been a gift. And there's only 4 students out of the entire College of Pharmacy. We have 3 classes in this school, and myself and another P1 and 2 other students are on the committee. So representation matters, and I am humbled and proud and excited to be that representation and that voice for so many like me that didn't have a voice. And yes, I'm just so excited. This semester has been beautiful. It has flown by. It has been a little stressful at times. It has been fun. It has been so reassuring. Learning all of these things. I feel like pharmacy school definitely is hard. When people say that it's hard, it's not hard because it's difficult to understand. It's hard because there's just so much material to grasp in a short amount of time. That's what makes it hard. So you really have to find a balance with your priorities and studying. You can't cram. Like, there's no way suicide cramming. But yes, this has been so much fun, learning about these drugs, how to talk to people, about professionalism, showing up and showing out, and really just knowing this is my first step in my career. And I took this semester very serious because my GPA wasn't competitive at all. So I knew me starting this program was kind of a new beginning, a fresh start for me to start having the GPA I want from here on out. And that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm just so excited for next semester. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see more of as me being a pharmacy student, what you're most curious about. Even if you aren't in pharmacy school, if there's something that you want to know that I haven't touched on yet, let me know. I would love to address it. And those of you that are applying, I'll try to help as much as possible. Just drop a comment and I am free to help. I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have happy holidays. Bye.